In this hour, as President Trump tours the disaster zone in Asheville, North Carolina. Western North Carolina has been struggling to get back to normal since being hard hit by Hurricane Helene back in September. This is what it looked like. And NewsNation has been on the ground there from the start. We've continued speaking with residents who are still living in campers and tents and are now facing severe cold as winter weather is gripping that region like so much of the country. President Trump has been using the disaster as a political rallying cry since the hurricane hit, pointing to the slow recovery as proof that the Biden administration was failing everyday Americans and saying FEMA's response failed because of red tape and politics. Now, just moments ago, floating the idea of getting rid of FEMA altogether.
I'll also be signing an executive order to begin the process of fundamentally reforming and overhauling FEMA, or maybe getting rid of FEMA. I think, frankly, FEMA is not good. I think when you have a problem like this, I think you want to go and, whether it's a Democrat or Republican governor, you want to use your state to fix it and not waste time calling FEMA. And then FEMA gets here and they don't know the area. They've never been to the area. And they want to give you rules that you've never heard about. They want to bring people that aren't as good as the people you already have. And FEMA's turned out to be a disaster.
All right, so let's get out now live to Kelly Meyer, who is live for us outside of the White House there. And Kelly, just moments ago, the president once again taking questions from reporters.
Yeah, he did. So we definitely have a lot to update you on here, Nichole, from when he left the White House this morning to as he arrived there in North Carolina for his first trip as president. His first stop today is in North Carolina to visit those communities that were damaged by the hurricane. He is going, he says, to ask Congress for money to help with the disaster aid and those that were affected. But he says that will go through him and not FEMA, he says, quote, FEMA let us down. He also saw that he was speaking ahead of his tour. You saw him there. He's going to tour the damaged area there in North Carolina in Asheville. Officials on the ground called this devastation after devastation, referring to how they felt the prior administration, the Biden administration, handled this. President Trump said earlier that he didn't know if it was Biden's fault and more of FEMA's fault, but then he did say, quote, Biden didn't do his job. Trump also says he is considering getting rid of FEMA. Take a listen to this.
FEMA has really let us down, let the country down, and I don't know if that's Biden's fault or whose fault it is, but we're going to take over and we're going to do a good job. So rather than going through FEMA, it will go through us.
So he's going to review FEMA and potentially decide whether or not to keep it around. When he was pressed on that in those questions that you saw in that tape there before, he didn't quite give an answer exactly what the future of FEMA looks like or any kind of timeline, but he does say it's something that he's going to review. Nichole.
And Kelly, we know that Trump will be heading to California next. We know he has been very critical of leadership there in that state. Any idea what we can expect this afternoon?
Yeah, political backlash to those wildfires. Trump has been very critical of California leadership, from Governor Newsom to LA Mayor Bass to California Senator Schiff. He has also suggested the aid for California could come with some strings. Two things he said this morning that he wants to see in California, quote, voter ID and the water be released and come down into Los Angeles and throughout the state. Take a listen to this.
We're going to then go to Los Angeles and take a look at a fire that could have been put out if they let the water flow, but they didn't let the water flow, and they still haven't for whatever reason. So I think we're going to have a very interesting time.
A lot of back and forth between Trump and California Governor Gavin Newsom. Trump had said this week that he didn't know whether he would meet with Governor Newsom. He may potentially meet him on the tarmac. He also said just moments ago that he, quote, wasn't thrilled, to be honest with you, about possibly having Adam Schiff traveling with him to Los Angeles. He said that somebody said that he wanted to come on the plane, but that he had to stay back for votes, those confirmation votes here in Washington today. And Newsom's office tells me that they are glad President Trump, quote, accepted the governor's invitation to come to Los Angeles, and they say they will keep us posted on the governor's schedule. So watching there if Governor Newsom meets Trump on the tarmac in Los Angeles. Nichole.
Yeah, that'll be interesting. We'll see what happens. Kelly, thank you. Thanks for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your screen. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.